Hello, dear students. I hope you all are doing proper preparations and according to the given instruction you are completing your work. Today I am going to start the explanation of chapter 1 English grammar part which is given in your English textbook. So in this grammar, let's begin. In this, first it is given read these sentences. First let's read these sentences, dear students. Patia wanted to make a big lantern. The second one is lantern of various colors began twinkling in homes. The third one is the rising sun bathed everything in its soft light. Now dear students, you can see over here some words are underlined over here in all the three sentences and some words are highlighted over here with different color. Now let's begin with the definition. Then you will come to know why this is done. The underlined words are finite verbs, and the words in color are non-finite verbs. Now you understood the difference between these both, students? The underlined words which are given, that are called finite verbs, and the highlighted verbs which are there, that are non-finite verbs. In this, what do you mean by a finite verb, students? It is usually the main verb in a sentence. Always the main verb, what the thing is being done, is called the finite verb. And then it agrees with the subject. It is connected with the subject. It can change and it changes its form with tense, number, singular, plural and the person. As it is given, the examples are given over here. I and they. If the subjects are I and they, the verb will be draw. But when the subjects changes to singular, he or she, s is added over here to the word draws. It becomes he or she draws. And then if it is in a past tense, this was about present tense. This was singular and this was plural. And in this, if it is past tense, I, he, she, they drew. The word draw changes to drew. Then the next define is about non-finite verbs. What do you mean by a non-finite verb? A non-finite verb cannot be the only or main verb in a sentence. Means it is not the only verb in the sentence. It will be the other verb. It does not depend on the subject and does not change its form with tense, number or persons. It has no relation with the subject. It doesn't change. It remains the same in all type and all singular, whether it is singular or plural or in any tense form. As the example are given, I, they like to draw. So to draw will not change whether it is singular or plural subject or if the tense is changed. In this second part also it is shown he, she likes to draw. This likes has changed in both the sentence. This was like and this became likes. But this form has not changed. Now come and look at the table over here which is given in your textbook. It shows three types of non-finite verbs. How many types of non-finite verbs are there? There are three types of non-finite verbs. The first one is infinitive form. For what is the infinitive form used? It is used to express actions. Means through that you can express the action. And what is its form? To plus verb. Let's see its example. I like to study in the morning. So the highlighted one, to study, is the infinitive. Infinitive always comes with the word to. Now the second type is participles. That is, it is used to show tense and also a verbal adjective. Now for showing the tense, these participles are used and its form is verb plus it can be ing or ed or en. Let's see the example. I eat a boiled egg every day. So the highlighted verb boiled, it's a participle. And the last form is gerunds. Now for what are the gerunds used? It is used as verbal nouns. It acts as verbal nouns. its form is always, it comes in the ing form, verb plus ing. Now let's look at the example. Swimming is a good exercise. See, it's a verb, but it is acting, adding ing, it is acting as a noun. That's why it's called a verbal noun. So swimming is a gerund. Now let's move on to the next exercise. Here it is given, you have to circle the finite verb in this sentence and underline the non-finite verbs. And one more thing you have to do, that is write I for infinitives, P for participles and G for gerunds next to the non-finite verbs. If the verbs are non-finite, so what you have to do, you have to put this types, which type of non-finite verb, I, P and G for that. The first one is already been done for you. In that, the finite verb is throw and the non-finite verb is rotten, because you have to circle the finite verb and underline the non-finite verb. And for this non-finite verb rotten, you know the form verb plus en means it is a participle. That's why P is written over here. Now the second one is, my aunt is sending me a box of chocolate. Now in this, is sending is a finite verb, and in this sentence there is no other verb, no non-finite verb, so no need to mention the type. The third one is, eating samosas every day is bad for health. In this, the finite verb is and the non-finite verb is eating, and in this it is acting as a verbal noun, so that's why it's called a gerund. So we have written G over here. The fourth one is, Madhuri prefers watching films to reading books. Now in this, prefers is a finite verb and watching and reading, they are non-finite verbs, and they are of which type? They are of gerund. Its type is gerund. Now the fifth one is, how many times should I tell you not to bite your nails? Now in this, tell is a finite verb and to bite is a non-finite verb, and to plus verb, it's a infinitive, it's an infinitive. And the last one is, he wants to become a doctor to help people in the villages. Now wants is a finite verb, and then to become and to help are non-finite verbs, and to plus verb form, that is called an infinitive. So dear students, our next exercise, we'll move on to our next exercise, that is you have to complete these sentences with the finite or non-finite forms of verbs in the bracket. So in the bracket the words are given. According to the sentence, what you have to do, if it's the main verb, you have to add according to it, and if it is a non-finite verb, you have to put the three forms which I have explained you in the previous table. According to that, you have to complete the sentence. The first one has already been done for you. I am studying, the study word is given in the bracket, it will become am studying hard, and in the bracket do is given, it will change to do well in the test tomorrow. Then the second one is, did you, what you will use, the same word will come as it is a present tense, and then to call him when you went. Now when is coming, it is showing the past form, so go will change to went to buy the table. In this we have used the infinitive form. Then we'll move on to our third question, that is, the confusing instruction made it very difficult for the students to write the exam. Then the fourth one is, can I request your teacher to help me? So according to the sentence, you have to form the finite or non-finite type of words and write it in the blank. Then the fifth one is, I, it can be am also or was teaching. B form is given. What you have to add a B form and then the ing form to the word teach. B form is am and was. If it is a present, you are indicating it with a present, you have to use am teaching. And if you are indicating it with past, you can use was teaching you to paint with watercolors. Now the next one is last one, when I. So when means it is indicating about the past tense, so see will change to saw him. He was picking apples from the orchard to make apple jam. Then we'll move on to our next part, that is vocabulary. Now in this, first the explanation is given. In this vocabulary, the topic is about antonyms. What do you mean by antonyms? Antonyms means, you all know dear children, that they are opposite words. Now the first example is given over here. Brightness. What will be the opposite of brightness? That is dullness. Now the definition of that is given over here. These words are opposite in meaning and are called antonyms. The opposite words are always called antonyms. Now our first exercise is, find words in the text that are the antonyms of these words. Now you have to find the words from the text which are opposite of this given words. Now the first one is outside, inside. Second one, slowly, briskly. Third one, daybreak, sundown. These all words are mentioned in the chapter, dear students. Noisy, silent. Setting opposite, rising. And entrance opposite, exit. Now related to this antonyms, one more exercise is given over here. That is, what you have to do is, you have to complete this sentence with the antonyms of the words in colored. Here some words are given in colored form. Their opposites you have to write it in the blank using the words the letters un, in or dis to form the antonyms. The first one has already been done for you, dear students. The sentence is, the book I read yesterday was very interesting, but the book I am reading today is quite dash. Means you have to write the opposite of interesting using un, in or dis. So we wrote it uninteresting. Now the second one is, germs are dash to the naked eye, but they are visible under a microscope. Now what will be the opposite of visible? It will become invisible. Now the third one is, knowing Hindi is never a disadvantage. Means here the blank is given over here. It is always an advantage, especially in North India. So what will be the antonym of advantage? It will be disadvantage. Then the fourth one is, Shakil was not able to complete his assignment, so he submitted an dash one. Now you have to write the antonym of complete, that is incomplete. Now the fifth one is, suddenly a face appeared at the window and dash equally fast. Means you have to write down the antonym of appeared, that will be disappeared. Now the sixth one is, Samir says that rock music is very pleasant to the ear, but I find it very dash. You have to write the antonym of pleasant over here, that is unpleasant. So dear students, our next part, we are coming to a next part of the textual exercise, that is about spelling. In this, two types of spellings are given over here, that is thought and bought. In this, the use of OUGHT and that GHT is used over here. The spellings are somewhat same. The first exercise is, you have to listen to the words and complete the spellings and then say the words aloud. The first word is brought. The second one is plow. The third one is neighbor. Fourth one is straight. And fifth one is through. Now the next exercise is, you have to listen to the words and complete the spellings. In this also same way. First one comb. Second one depth. Third one plumber. Fourth one autumn. Fifth one doubt. Sixth one column. Seventh one receipt. Eighth one cupboard. Ninth one honest. 10th one honor. 11th one Wednesday. and the last one handkerchief. Now dear students, the next one is about the reading. You have to listen to the passage and read the passage. It is given about the celebrations which are being done around the world of different states and different countries. It's given over here. Then let's come to the last part of our textual exercise, that is about pronunciations. In pronunciations, you have to take care about the tone which is coming down sometimes, or it is coming up. Sometimes the tone has to be fallen down, and sometimes when you are answering or giving, that time the tone comes up. According to that, you have to mark the tone given over here. You have to read these questions and mark the tone with an upward arrow for the rising tone or a downward arrow for the falling tone. Here you are asking a question, where is the nearest post office? So your tone has been fallen down. And the second one is, isn't she your cousin's best friend? So the tone has risen up. Why haven't you gone home yet? The tone is falling down. The fourth one, shall I book your tickets too? See the difference between the asking of the question. In this, the tone has risen up. How did you know his name? The tone has fallen down. And the last one, has she already left for school? The tone has risen up. So dear students, you have to do this textual exercise in your textbook with a pencil. You have to write down all the textual exercise in the textbook itself with a pencil. So I hope you would have understood the textual exercise, dear students. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.